Stephanie. Appreciate that. Okay, so I am Jeanette, and we have been at Saturn Road for over 28 years and been involved in every different ministry there is. This is my husband, Norm.
I know.
He's one of the shepherds there and a Bible class teacher for adults. He's been, he grew up at Green Lawn, which is a fun fact, and was here from the 5th grade until he graduated high school. And then we both ended up at ACU where we met and married 2 years later. So it's been a wonderful wild ride, and we have 8 children. Our oldest is 34 and our youngest is 20. And they've been a real blessing and a lot of challenges along the way, of course, but we're truly blessed. And we do have grandbaby number 6 on the way. So that's a lot of fun. But we're going to get into, this is titled Setting the Stage, and we're just going to, I'm going to presume you don't know much about teaching cradle roll, though I know that most of you do. And you could probably be up here and teach it instead of me or better than me, whatever, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And I think too, well, let's just go around. So Stacy, Annette, and you teach cradle roll and are very comfortable with that. And where are you worshiping?
Sunset.
You're at Sunset. Okay.
And I do toddlers in the preschool program.
Perfect. And you are Michelle.
Hopper. Yes,
What
and I
congregation?
teach in the cradle roll and all ages up through elementary, and I've taught 24 years. I'm a retired teacher. So,
Okay, wonderful. And what congregation are you at?
Sunset.
You're also at Sunset. Okay. And
I am Diana, and I'm from Odin Lane in Abilene, Texas.
yes,
I teach lambs, which is the 1 and 2 year olds.
perfect. Wonderful. Okay. And Stephanie, tell us a little bit about you.
I sometimes help in cradle roll if they need me, but I work at a daycare.
Excellent.
My name is Brianne Ortiz, and I help out wherever I need. Like, I can do all ages, but yeah.
And where are you?
Green.
At Green Lawn. Perfect. Okay.
I'm Pat Eastep, and excuse me, from Green Lawn. And I've been, I was a coordinator of cradle roll for a few years. And still helping coordinate, I guess.
Excellent. So I feel like this first session might be a little redundant for you, but we're going to go through it anyway, and maybe you'll catch some little tidbits. We all know that babies are born to learn. And there's some interesting research done. Of course, we start with the Bible. Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when grown, he will not depart from it. According to a study by global journals, around half of the overall development of mental abilities in children occurs in the first 3 years of life. And you know, we all heard this, but it shocks me every time. Half of the overall development of mental abilities happens in the first 3 years. Data from a Harvard University study shows that before a child turns 3, they're already forming 1 million neural connections every minute. It's shocking. They're like little sponges, and we know that because we've worked with babies, and they take it all in, they soak it all up, and it's just a miracle. It's wonderful to watch. Infants learn to trust based on how well their caregivers meet their basic needs and respond when they cry. When their needs are met, infants learn that relying on others is safe. We see this at work, and we see all kinds of babies. We see some that are more adjusted and easily leave mom, and some that really have a hard time. And so it's really important in the cradle roll department that mothers feel very safe leaving their babies, and that we don't get I know when you're an experienced teacher, like, just leave, they'll be fine. And chances are, yes, just leave, they'll be fine. But especially first-time moms are pretty anxious about leaving baby, and you need to be extra nurturing and extra encouraging to the moms. And just, just a reminder to be sure and do that. I know we have one sweet mom, first-time mom, and she left her baby in the cradle roll. He was probably about 6 months old when they're starting to get a little anxious to leave mom. And she left him. He cried. He was crying, but he was doing okay. And I went and found her, and she was crying in the foyer. And I sat down next to her, and I put my arm around her, and I said, it's going to be okay. It'll get easier. And I said, you can go in there with him if you want to, and sit with him, and so you know exactly what's happening with your baby. Paul D. Meyer, MD, writes, some of the foundations for spiritual development are laid during infancy. The infant certainly does not understand our religious beliefs and concepts as such, but our religious beliefs and concepts strongly influence the attitudes we have toward the infant, and the infant can sense the overall atmosphere and begins to respond to our behavior and attitudes. And I think we've all seen that as well, that they start soaking it in and they start responding. And we have one little boy, and he's real nervous about leaving mom, but he loves Bible class, and he has the cutest little voice, and you can hear him. It's one of these voices that travels down the halls. He's not particularly loud, but just that decibel, and he'll be Bible class, and he's so excited, even though he wants mom to stay with him. He loves it. So sweet. Okay, so these are our primary objectives. I'll just put them all up. There we go. That was a weird order. Teaching babies to have concepts of God and family, encouraging parents and supplementing their teaching of baby, and being an outreach to parents who are not in Christ. I don't often teach our classes right now because I'm making sure everything is in place and all of our teachers are there and have what they need. But if we have a late minute hole and I need to teach, I'm happy to do that. So a few Sundays ago, I was teaching in one of the cradle roll classes, and we had a brand new family, unchurched, show up. They had reached out for prayer, and our outreach minister had invited them to come to church, and they did. And they had a little boy that not quite 2, and then a baby that was not quite 1. And they left him in class, and I met them, and I might have missed him otherwise if I wasn't in that class. So it felt like God put me there, particularly at that time in that place. And he'd never been in a Bible class. He'd never probably even, I don't think he's even been in a daycare or preschool. So it was a whole new experience for him. And I'm all the way inside the classroom behind the table, and he comes in and he ends up staying at the very back of the room in the corner above the door. But he was okay. He didn't cry. He was happy enough. And I had one of my helpers was back there sitting with him with a toy, and he just kind of observed. By the very next Sunday, he was in his seat participating in class. And they've been coming regularly since then, probably about 4 weeks now. And baby sister loves Bible class too. And I just think this is right. This is good. This is what we're hoping for, because they're not in Christ and they're seeking. And we wanted to be that place. We didn't want to say, oh, just leave him, he'll be fine. And, go on. And, we just wanted to be nurturing and welcoming. And I think it worked out. So currently Saturn Road has 3 cradle roll classes. We are still rebuilding from COVID. We recently added our 3rd because our classes were getting pretty big. We probably have around 40 babies that under 2. They don't all come to class, certainly not all at the same time, but we want to be prepared and have the teachers and helpers in place. And so this is how we've broken it down right now. It's a little fluid based on how many fall into each age group. So we try to keep classes pretty small. We use basically the Palma Smiley method, which we'll get to in a minute, and Lois Whitaker's songs, but we've also brought in a lot of other things through workshops like these that we've incorporated as well. But it's all about repetition at this age. We teach by repetition using a method that stimulates all of baby's natural senses: seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, and tasting. Of course, tasting toys go right in the mouth, which is expected. And we also give them snacks and, keep them fully engaged. Even though we do teach by repetition, it's always good to keep our focus on the babies and how they learn. Of course, in any class, let's say you have 5 babies, every baby is going to have its own unique, developmental stage, and some are so much more advanced even at this young age than others. So we just keep, we'll engage one more than another just because that's where they're at the time. We don't want to become so routine that we don't take account their personal abilities and style. Lois Whitaker's See and Know curriculum, Palma Smiley's To Babies with Love, and then songs learned at workshops and from other teachers and all. Here's a slide, and here's the actual visual. This is our song card stack. We just recently were asked by one of the teachers to make it digital because it can be a little hard to fumble through these. Some people like it. I mean, you can see exactly where things are this way. So it's very helpful. But it's not 254 because there are cards in here that have like titles, but it's more than 200 songs. And of course, you don't sing all of those each class. So you pick and choose the ones you like, the ones you remember the tunes to, and go from there. So what I had you write, I cannot probably legally share the actual written songs because of copyright infringement, but I do have a resource where you can go and buy the book if you want to, but I can share with you the digital songs that are, some of you may know Laura Wade. I don't know if you know her or not. They're in Abilene now, but she sang through every one of these songs, and I can share those files with you. But you can still order, I went and checked, you can still order To Babies and Toddlers with Love off of the Palma Smiley website. She's no longer with us, but the company is still working, and it has the songs in here. You can make your own cards if you want to. And then this is Lois Whitaker's See and Know. I ran into a dead end seeing if you could buy this. Do you know? I mean, you probably haven't looked.
My set's 30 years old.
Yeah, so is this one, and I don't know, I dug a little and I couldn't find where you could actually still buy it. But it has sort of the whole, like the reasoning behind it and what the goals are. And this one's probably more useful as far as the actual songs. But you can take a look at those if you want to. We know the baby listens attentively to songs about Bible and what it tells us about God and creation. Some babies are rapt with their attention, and other babies maybe sleep through class, and that's okay too. But they all are getting something and learning along the way. We like to use baby's name a lot, and they love to see their face in a mirror, and they love to hear their name. We want them to know how special they are, and that God made them, and that God loves them. So we have a standard lesson plan, and like I said, we do everything by repetition. So every class is the same format, even though the songs and the interaction is going to be unique each time. So the lesson plan is the pre-session and greeting, like we're so glad you came to Bible class, and with the little tube, I have I don't know who uses these or not, but they love, where is Wesley, and did he come to Bible class? And they're over there like, like chomping the bit. They go, oh, there's Leslie. We're so glad you came. And then you can shake their hand. And they love that. Another thing we have is our church, which I think is pretty unique to Saturn Road because one of our members designed it and built it for it's one of our staff members' dads. So, but when they get to open the door and they get to see who came to Bible class, which they love, and then they'll close it, they'll close it and then we'll open it again. So I brought some paper big enough if you want to trace it. And because anybody, it's not a complicated pattern.
We use a church.
Do you use a church?
It's a little plastic one, and like this, and we use the cars that are going to Bible class, and then they have to put the card into the church
Okay.
to open the little mirror to see if
they came. That's cute.
And we do that one.
That's cute. I've seen the little schoolhouse, the Fisher Price schoolhouse from years gone by when we were kids. I've seen people paint them like a church and use them that way too, which is really a cute idea. So that's the pre-session and the greeting, and then we go into the Bible, and one of the very first words most of these babies say is Bible, and it's just the sweetest thing ever. And then go into creation overview. We spend a lot of time in the days of creation and families, and then the Jesus series. A Cradle Row program, and you know this, is going to be most effective when you have a lot of volunteers who offer their time and their talents, and everybody can offer something different, like we had someone build for us. So let's go into some of those ways. On the job training has proven the most effective method of training and maintaining quality teachers and helpers. And we average 1 adult for every 2 babies. Sometimes we have 1-on-1 ratio depending on how many babies come, but that's wonderful too. So here are some of the other ways. We have needs for carpentry, so building tables or cabinets or teaching aids, and I have a picture of some of these things that we have. Does everybody in here that teaches Cradle Roll, do you have the semicircular table with the cabinets underneath?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty wonderful.
There's a book that looks like a church, and it talks about the children going to Bible class, and the little chairs that are in the book are the chairs that we use for our kids. So I mean, they can actually visualize seeing
themselves.
and that they put their little toy or whatever they brought in their cup.
Yes.
So basically that is one of the things that we use.
That's really sweet. I like that. I like that idea a lot. Right now we have, and I took a picture, but it's on my phone, not on my computer. I should have put it on there last night, but of the chairs that are used in the Cradle Roll down here, do you remember what they're called, Stephanie? They're, what'd she call them?
They're like sit and eat, or
yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's
a cross
convertible
between
to
a high chair.
tray, yeah.
It's kind of a cross between a little seat and a high chair that's down low, so it goes right up to the table. They can strap them in. We use the walkers, and then if the baby's really active, I pop the front wheels off so they can't push themselves back. And then also with little babies, we have pillows that just little lap pillows that we put in front of them so it supports them if they're not fully supported themselves, or a bouncy seat or a swing, whatever baby needs before they can sit up
We
properly.
once had, at a church in Midland, they built a stand with car seats to where a car seat was mounted on a wooden stand so that it sat at a good angle.
That's interesting
And that was a
too,
neat way to do
because
it.
baby's secure that way and can see, so that's good. Usually when we have pretty little babies that aren't self-supporting, we usually have someone holding them, but we also can do some other things too.
It's interesting at the daycare that I work at. I hadn't seen these until I went there. It's a ministry daycare, and on the table, the little babies sit. They have
The bucket seats.
seats.
Yeah,
I've never seen
we
that
have
before.
one of
Yeah, we
those.
have one of
You have one of
as well.
those. That's really nice. It's not as convertible, but it's great. We had one of those in a congregation we were at in the past where it was like there was a hole cut into the table and the seat down in it. So they're nice and close, which I like that. Sometimes trying to lean over, especially if they drop a toy on the floor. I mean, we do have helpers for that, but it can be a challenge. I will show you, I don't know how common these wooden numbers are. I have a set of really, really old ones just in case anybody wanted to trace around them. It's not an example of what we use, but they are painted to match the day of the week on creation. And it's nice because you hold it, it's like this big, and we usually like tap it on the table, day one, God made light when there was none. And it's nice and big and visual, and so I really like those too. And then artistry, it's always nice for baby, but also for parents to come into a bright and happy room. And you can achieve that even on a limited budget, especially if you have some good artists in your church family, which I'm sure you do. We have one particularly gifted artist that did this whole, come over here, this whole mural of the days of creation. It's just absolutely beautiful. But if you can't go there, you can go here and do just I did that one. I think I spent 2 days on it and did the rainbow across the back of the wall. And it just really brightens up your space and makes it a happy place to be. We have, does anybody else have like a ministry of helping hands? We have a helping hands ministry. I don't know if that's common or not. So we have a team of mostly older adults that don't feel like they have the energy or the wherewithal to be in the classroom, but they want to help. And so they are helping hands ministry. They meet on Wednesdays during class time, and they do lots of cutting, preparing handwork, copying materials, whatever we need them to do, they will do. It's just been just a great group of people that cut, they color, they glue, whatever we need. Let's see, when we have a big event coming up, they'll do different materials for that as well. And of course, with these babies, you've got lots of things going in the mouth, you got lots of runny noses, lots of coughing and all the things. So we're very diligent about being sanitary and cleaning everything. We're blessed to have a sink in our cradle roll rooms. Not all cradle roll rooms have sinks. Not all of our classrooms do, but our cradle roll rooms do. And so usually we have a volunteer is over there as they're coming off the table. She's washing them, drying them, and they're going back in the bins for next week. So that's really
We have a basket and they take them home and wash them.
Oh,
and then
okay.
take them back.
okay. That's good too. And there are some sprays that are safe that you just spray and leave on, and that's nice. Deuteronomy 6 and 7. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Okay, so this was setting the stage. Let's talk a little bit. Let's share some more information. We've shared a lot of good things, and maybe even share some things that haven't worked that you've tried. And then I do have a handout of our lesson plan, just step by step, so. Probably don't need it, but it's good. It's just helpful. You can give this to your teachers and it kind of helps keep them on track, even if, you know, you don't. That's two, you may have two. Then I'm gonna tell you about something just did during COVID. So how long were we shut down? We were shut down for a long time because we're in Dallas County.
14 months.
14 months we were shut down. How about you guys?
6 months maybe?
Or maybe 2 years. We did a lot of
was-
online.
Yeah, it was shut down and then we opened and then we shut down again, so it was a long time.
How about you?
I really can't say for sure. I know we split and had 2 different services. We had a morning, 8 o'clock service and a 10:30 service, so, and then Bible class, we have that now going on as well, still yet, but I mean, there for a while, we took it from one building to the other. So,
Did you ever shut down?
yes, we had online, so I mean, we had online for a little while.
Yeah. How about Green Lawn? Was Green Lawn shut down for very
Are you
long?
talking classes or worship?
Well, both.
We came back worship. And then somewhere along the way started class. I think it was like 5 years.
Seemed like-
It seemed like it,
Yeah.
definitely.
Forever.
Well, then, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The Bible classes, I don't know.
Yeah, because worship started
Maybe,
before classes.
Yeah.
maybe like 2 months, maybe.
Oh, no. Because we have we had a ministry school that started back before then. And then it was probably a good year and a half. And I know we started back before sunset. And so it was probably a good year.
Okay. That's, I think, pretty standard, but that's a long time in the life of a baby. And so I was not in the ministry role at the time, but my team was, and now my team, they put together these bins and sent them home with the parents. And so it came with the song sheet, and this is like a condensed version of this. But it also included all the props, and it had a video, which we're gonna watch in one of the next sessions. We might watch the whole thing because you don't really need to, but that was so valuable for parents to see it in person, say, okay, that's not so hard, I can do that. But I'm just gonna let you go through it because I thought this was really, really special to send home. And I was showing this to Courtney yesterday, and she thought, wow, that'd make a really good baby gift, for new parents, which, yeah, I think it would. And